And welcome into the Sports Den. We are here for Season 20, Episode 15. Happy New Year, our first episode of 2023. Alongside Mary Robinger, I'm Matt Dean here. Our coverage of Blaine Centennial Spring Lake Park High School had some cancellations, some postponements with the weather last week, Mary, but still a lot of great rivalry action as we start to get into the meat of conference play, and a lot of our North Metro TV schools starting to face each other, which is always fun this time of year.
Talk about a way to welcome into the new year with all of these rivalry matchups. So thank goodness all the players and coaches had time to really take a break and get their mind right for what's going to be a physically tough and also emotional start to the year like we already saw.
We got a couple of basketball games coming up later. We're going to start on the ice with one of those marquee North Metro TV matchups. Spring Lake Park welcoming in 20th ranked Centennial in a matchup out of Northwest Suburban Conference. It is Centennial who had taken the previous 9 meetings in the all-time series. Pass dropped off from Nick Carls to Casey Conan. Brock Lewick, the sophomore netminder, played really well early in the first period. Keep this one tight. Battle along the wall, won by the Cougars. It would be Harper Searles slipping it off to Sam Meney, who slotted it home. The breakthrough, the minute 36 left in the opening frame. Cougars would get a second and go into the 2-goal lead into the first intermission. That was Palmer LeMay with the interception. Heath Nelson with the goal at the time, making it 3-0 Centennial. It was 4-0 in the game at this point. Alex Clampett fluttering one in on goal to make it 5-0 Cougars. It would be a 7-goal second period to break the game wide open for the Cougars. They would make it 8-0 as Searles slipped it off to Ramirez, who had 2 goals in the second period. It would be the Cougars going in 9-0 to the third. They'd make it a perfect 10-0 with a Searles goal, and the Cougs rolled in this one to the 10-0 victory.
Coach Manny, first off, you had a long layoff coming into this, postponements, about a 2-week break, and maybe a little slow to start. Maybe that was part of it, maybe not, but once you found your rhythm, things really started to click for you tonight.
Yeah, no doubt about it. And we kind of expected that and talked to the guys prior to the game about having heavier feet, keeping shifts short. And you know what, there's a lot of kids on this team, if not all of them, that, you know, they're winners and they're going to go out and grind on that. So, yeah, we're pretty proud of how they played, and we thought they played pretty well.
The 2 goals tonight for you, 2 more assists, a nice night. And again, that offense, you had a nice break, but once you got going, things were pretty solid for your offense tonight.
Yeah, definitely. Came out a little slow, but like you said, we found our rhythm, started putting the puck in the net. We had a little motivation at the start of the game, so yeah, it was just perfect game.
Talk about your line, because you had 4 points, but you also had Blair and Searles. You really seem to know where each other is on the ice, and really works well. You had some really nice passes, picking up assists, but also goals. And you also see players like Blair, yourself, with these long goal and point streaks. Talk about that front line that you got.
Yeah, we're all having good success right now. We're all finding each other, and Blair and Searles are just unbelievable players. It's easy to play with them. They're always in the right spots, and they always find me with the puck, so it's perfect right now.
Terrific effort from the Cougars top to bottom. 16 different skaters record points in this one. 9 different goal scorers, including a pair from one of the co-captains, Drake Ramirez. Ramirez, Blair, and Searles, that terrific top line for the Cougars, all extended point scoring streaks to 9 straight to open the season. They would all flex that out to 10 in a row each after all 3 of those guys scored again on Saturday against Coon Rapids at home. First game for Centennial because of a postponement up in Duluth last week, Tuesday. It was their first game in 16 days. Really got their legs on them and dominate in this one, almost doubling up the Panthers in shots. We take a look at the Northwest Suburban Conference standings. Centennial sit in a tie for 3rd place. They're coming off their first back-to-back wins of the season on a really tough schedule. They still have this month Maple Grove and Rogers coming up, who sit above them in the conference standings. SLP in a 6-game skid have their next 2 coming up. Out of conference, Blaine are able to pick up a win against Hudson earlier in the week. They're still looking for their first conference win of the season to this point. Upcoming schedules for both teams. The Cougars will have, they're already 2 games into a stretch of 11 in a row in conference action coming up. SLP will have their next 2 on the road at Mounds View and at Jefferson. Both those games coming out of conference. Blaine are 2 games into a run of 6 straight in league play, and they'll have a big one coming up against Centennial on the horizon. On the girls hockey side, one of the great teams that we get to cover in North Metro TV, Centennial Spring Lake Park, out to a terrific start to the season still. They're 4-2-1 in the conference, chasing 5th-ranked Maple Grove after they lost to the Crimson on opening night. Their only other loss, the Cougars, this year was to Champlain Park Coon Rapids in a game in overtime. Blaine had played their last 4 out of conference. Our 2 North Metro TV schools were supposed to play last week. That's rescheduled to the 21st, so we'll have a big cat clash coming up later on as we take a look at the upcoming schedule. Blaine with an out-of-state foe mixed in there, a couple out of conference after they play Anoka before they've got 2 big ranked matchups. The 2nd-ranked Huskies followed by 9th-ranked Centennial SLP. In the meantime, for the Cougars, they have their next 3 in conference, including that top 10 matchup with Maple Grove after the Crimson beat them 2-0 in the season opener.
What a game to start the show, and more rivalry matchups coming up on the hardwood. This one not as lopsided, Matt. Centennial hosts Blaine in a girls basketball clash. The Cougars enter the matchup trying to move back to 500. You see the Bengals, they enter 6-2. We go to the first half. Molly Garber, she'll drive in with a spin move and floater finish. On the other end, Centennial working to stay in the driver's seat. Nice pass down low to Maddie Skalicki off the glass and in. 5:14 to go in the opening half. Cougars lead 17-12. Emma Walsh drives in for 2. Draws the foul. Walsh finished with 11 points. Bengals trailing by 5. The shot from long range is good. Lucy Romaker knocking it down. Now a 1-possession ball game. Second half, Autumn McCall drives the lane and gets the layup to go. She led Centennial with 15 points. Blaine trying to lessen the 7-point deficit. Sadie Dominic sees an opening and takes it to the rack. 11 minutes to go now. A 9-point lead for the Cougars. McCall with a tough bucket. Nice work by the sophomore. Centennial in full control of this ball game. Bengals won't go away quietly though. Mara Holly drains the triple. 58-42 now. The Cougars doing a really nice job in this one with quick ball movement, leads to an open 3. And there you have it. Centennial wins 61-53.
We just wanted to shoot the ball well. We knew that they played a 1-3-1. We tried. We had a press break of getting it to the middle, and I think we executed that really well.
He was telling us, like, they're physical. That's one thing we're going to need to, like, step up on is they're a physical team. So we're going to need to match that, but also play with finesse. So I feel like we showed up and did that tonight, so that's how we got the win. We all are, like, have real relationships, like, off the court and in school. We hang out with each other and walk around the halls and, you know, stuff like that. So that chemistry just translates onto the court and helps us, you know, have trust in each other in those close scenarios or when they're trying to get that comeback, to just trust in your teammates.
Physicality and finesse. Centennial improves to 6-6. The #1 singles tennis athlete, Molly Garber, led the floor with 16 points. And the difference maker, both McCall and Marissa Frost, finished with double digits in points. Proves to be the recipe for success. The Cougars outscored Blaine 25-23 in the first half and 36-30 in the second half.
Really nice win for the Cougars, who beat a Blaine team who were 20th ranked in the state coming in. Looking at the Northwest Suburban Conference standings, but really nice win. That's what it takes, balanced scoring attack from a lot of different players to beat the Bengals.
Maple Grove at the top, undefeated in the conference. They're 6-3 overall. Centennial has played more games. They are second in the conference with a 6-6 record, 4-1 in NWS play. And then you see Blaine and SLP with the 3-2 and 2-3 conference records respectively. A bunch of conference games coming up, so a great opportunity for those mid-range teams to take a jump in the standings. Coming up, for the Bengals. We'll start with Blaine. They're in for a lot of conference competition until February 11th. Blaine alternates between home and away, starting with Coon Rapids, Anoka, and Maple Grove. Before that, Rosemont. And then Coon Rapids is 8-1. Same thing for Centennial. They'll face Champlain Park, Maple Grove, and Park Center on the road. Champlain Park is 4-2. SLP 4-6 overall. They're in action tonight against Irondale.
Well, we had the Cougars take it on the girls' side of our Cat Clash matchup on North Metro TV. We also had the boys facing off with Blaine hosting in the other leg of our Centennial Blaine doubleheader. Packed house on hand at the Bengal gym. It was a fun one on youth basketball night on the floor. Bengals had come in with the 4th highest scoring team in the state in boys Class 4A. Zach Schusted would show off the scoring down low with a nifty turnaround to keep the Bengals in front in a back and forth, hotly contested first half. Josh Lee, with his only 2 points of the game, finish there off the glass. Schusted would draw the focus inside this time, flip it out to Ryan Bowman. He was the bull man in the first half. He splashes in the 3 there, had a 20-plus point effort in this one for the Bengals. Cougars leading scorer Ty Burgoon did what he did best, attacking the rim. He would have a team-high 13 points in the first half. The Bengals would come out on an 18-2 scoring run after the Cougars led by 4. Alvin Payne in the house of Blaine. He was making stuff happen for the Bengals, the junior, with 9 of his 13 in the second frame. Burgoon, a tremendous individual effort, finished with 26 scoring there for Centennial. Jordan Lyon would have the last bucket of the game. It would be that big run to open the second frame for the Bengals that would have them roll to the comfortable win.
We're here with Alvin Payne, 13 points tonight as you get the win tonight over a big rival Centennial. Talk about your game tonight, 13 points and really aggressive, both offense and defense, a couple of steals on the court. Talk about your game tonight.
Yeah, we were in the locker room, we were just talking about it, we were just talking over it. We're not playing as hard on defense. We're just talking about how we had to pick it up, so we came out the second half just like ready to kill. Like, this is our rival team, we gotta put them under,
A lot of different offensive options on this team. I mean, you were able to drive in, you've scored 13 points in double figures, but there's a lot of other guys on this team that can score. Talk about the offense of this team.
Yeah, we have a lot of shooters, so if our shooters are hitting, they're gonna get out, so that just gives me like easier chances to get a bucket in the paint because they're always like playing out. So.
Great performance by the Bengals, who see 4 of their starters eclipse double digits in this one. They got a terrific all-junior backcourt. You heard from Alvin Payne, who had 9 of the 13, we said, of his points come in the second half. The seniors were shining, though, for this Blaine team. Ryan Bowman with his 3rd game of 20-plus this year. He leads Blaine with 19 points per game, 7 of 15 shooting, including 4 threes. To lead the way, Zach Schusted added 20 of his own and a very efficient 8 of 11 night. And we mentioned the great individual effort from Ty Burgoon, the Cougars' leading scorer. He had 26 points, 4 rebounds after he had combined for just 15 in the previous 2 games when he was down in a little bit of a slump and bumping his scoring average up to over 20 per game. Once again, we take a look at the Northwest Suburban standings and how they fare. It's a little bit deceiving to see Blaine where they are at. Losses to Totino Grace, one of the top teams in the league. Also a loss at Armstrong, so they pick up their first conference win before their next 10 are all against Northwest Suburban competition. Remember, still early. Spring Lake Park got their first win under head coach Oliver Major in his first year, the longtime assistant for the Panthers, so congrats to him as they won against Osseo on Friday and a nice home win to notch it for the Panthers. Centennial right now on a season-long 4-game skid. A lot of games still to change position in the standings coming up. We mentioned 10 in a row for the Bengals in conference coming up. Centennial have their next 15 all against Northwest Suburban Conference competition. So schedule doesn't get any easier coming up in the basketball slate, but a lot of chance to make up some ground in those standings.
There's the time now where the grind gets real for all of these teams. And switching things over now as we near the end of the show to the pool. A little away from the rivalry matchups, but the Blaine boys swimming team is at Coon Rapids, and we start out with the 200-yard medley relay. Coon Rapids comes in with the top finish in the event with a winning time of 1:49.85. Blaine's relay team of Jace Dayton, Nolan Peterson, Brady Lease, and Kobe Banson about 4 seconds behind for second place. Jace Dayton gives Blaine their first top finish of the day in the 200-yard freestyle, coming in with a time under 2 minutes. Here's the top finish in the 200-yard IM. Mitch Tronson of Coon Rapids with a 2:15.7. Blaine takes the top 2 spots in the 50-yard free. Ryan Mackey and Bradley Weiss share in the range of 23 seconds. Luke Courier for Coon Rapids earns a 1:24.9 to place first in the 1-meter dive. Next, the 100-yard butterfly. Jackson Ling for Coon Rapids comes in first with a time of 58.54. Ryan Mackey gives Blaine a first place time in the 100-yard free, a 53.45 finish. In the 500-yard freestyle, Mitch Tronson for Coon Rapids finished with a top time of 5:17.05. 200-yard free sees Coon Rapids at the top with a team final time of 1:45.56. The 100-yard breaststroke, Jace Dayton with another top finish for the Blaine Bengals with a 59.32. Quan Pham for Blaine comes in first in the 100-yard breaststroke with a 1:10.31 finish. Coon Rapids gets the top 2 places in the 400-yard freestyle, and Blaine comes in first in the 400-yard free relay. Blaine wins with a team score of 96.5 to Coon Rapids 81.5.
Fun one in the pool. I was never much of a breaststroker myself, but pretty bad overall in the pool. Hey, we already showed you the highlights from that basketball game between Blaine and Centennial on the boys' side on Friday. The real highlight of the night came when the North Metro TV cameras were rolling about 30 minutes prior in the JV game. Check it out. That was Nathan Hollian, the junior on the JV squad for Blaine, who sent it to overtime. The Cougars, it should be said, did go on to take that matchup in the extra period, but man, that was a fun highlight, and good thing, you know, we had the cameras rolling right before it.
Someone needs to make that a GIF or a meme of that reaction, the Joe Rogan reaction to the incredible buzzer beater, but wow, glad the cameras were rolling. That right there is incredible.
Yeah, me and Nick Walsh on the call for that one later on for the varsity game. So good game of the varsity game, didn't quite live up to that great shot, so we definitely wanted to give Hollian a shout out, and you know, sure, if you want to get me going viral on the internet with that picture, go for it.
Yeah.
That's going to do it for us here on Season 20, Episode number 15. Glad to be back here in the new year. We'll see you next week. Mary Rominger, myself, Matt Dean. Thanks so much for tuning in to the Sports Den.